Why does your dog suddenly bark at nothing? Here's the shocker. It's not nothing at all. They're picking up signals you don't even know exist. In this video, we're uncovering 14 bizarre things dogs can see, hear, and sense. Things completely invisible to you. Miss these signs, and you might never realize what your dog has been trying to tell you. And just wait until we get to the final one. It's honestly terrifying. But before we jump in, smash that like button and subscribe. It means more than you know. Now, let's pull back the curtain on your dog's hidden world. So let's begin, not with what dogs do, but with what they know. And it starts with something that guides their every step, even when no one's watching. 1. The Earth's magnetic field. Have you ever watched your dog circle around and around before finally going to the bathroom? Most of us think they're just being picky. But scientists believe there's something much deeper going on. Your dog might be aligning themselves with the Earth's magnetic field like a living compass. A study published in Frontiers in Zoology in 2013 observed over 70 dogs and found that they consistently preferred to relieve themselves in a north-south orientation. Not east-west, not random, but aligned with the invisible lines of the planet. It sounds wild, but think about it. Dogs have been migrating, tracking and returning home for thousands of years, long before GPS. Some researchers even believe there are magnetoreceptors in their eyes or nose, letting them sense the Earth's field like an internal map. That might explain why a lost dog can find its way across states through cities, or back to a home they've only been to once. It's not magic, it's ancient instinct. So next time your dog spins a few extra circles before squatting, don't rush them. They might be reading something you can't even feel. And that's just the beginning, because when the sun goes down and we see darkness, your dog, they see more than ever. 2. Night vision. You know that moment. The house is pitch dark. You're fumbling for the light switch, and your dog just walks ahead, calm and confident, as if nothing's wrong. That's because to your dog, darkness doesn't mean blindness. Their eyes are built for the night. Deep inside your dog's eyes is a special layer called the tapetum lucidum. It acts like a mirror bouncing light back through the retina, giving them a second chance to process what little light is available. It's the same reason their eyes sometimes glow in the dark. That glow is their night vision in action. And there's more. Dogs have a much higher number of rod cells than humans. Rods are the cells responsible for detecting motion and low light. That means your dog can spot a squirrel darting across the yard long before you even realize something's there. So when your dog seems completely at ease on a moonless walk, while you can't even see your feet, they're not just brave. They're equipped. But what's even more fascinating, night vision is only part of what sets their eyes apart. Because dogs can also see things in the light spectrum that we're totally blind to. And it's hiding in plain sight. Let me show you. 3. UV detection. We used to think dogs only saw in black and white, but science says that's just not true. In fact, dogs see the world in a very different way, including parts of it that are completely invisible to us, like ultraviolet light. In a 2014 study published in Proceedings of the Royal Society, bee researchers discovered that dogs, along with some other mammals, have lenses that allow UV light to pass through. That means your dog can see patterns, reflections, and trails that your eyes will never detect. Think about it. What looks like an ordinary flower to you might glow with striking patterns to your dog. Certain insects, even dried stains, light up under UV. So, when your dog keeps sniffing at a spot on the carpet that looks clean to you, they're not imagining things. They're following visual cues we can't begin to see. This ability also helps them track animals, navigate unfamiliar environments, and even recognize objects by their UV reflection. Their eyes turn everyday scenes into high-contrast maps. And you know what you can try it yourself. Grab a UV flashlight and shine it around your home. But be warned, you might finally understand what your dog's been fixated on all this time. Now, seeing is one thing, but dogs don't just rely on their eyes. Their hearing. That's where things get truly otherworldly. 4. Ultrasonic hearing. Have you ever seen your dog suddenly stop, tilt their head and stare at something you can't hear or even see? That moment when the room feels still, but your dog is already reacting. They're not overreacting. They're hearing what you can't. Dogs have an incredible hearing range up to 65,000 Hz, while we max out around 20,000 dollars. That means they can pick up sounds that are completely silent to us, like the high-pitched whine of electronics, the squeak of a mouse in the wall, or a dog whistle from 2 blocks away. This super hearing isn't just about loudness, it's about detail. Your dog can distinguish between footsteps you wouldn't notice, a car door you didn't hear, even the breathing pattern of someone outside your home. That's also why loud noises like fireworks or thunderstorms can overwhelm them. Those booming sounds hit their sensitive ears like a shock wave. So if your dog hides under the bed when a storm rolls in, they're not being dramatic. They're just built differently. And while their ears are always on alert, there's something even more subtle that they respond to. Something not heard, but felt. A signal that doesn't come through sound waves, but through the very ground beneath their feet. Let's talk about that. 5. Infrasound and Earthquake Sensing. She barked non-stop for 10 seconds. Then the quake hit. That's what one viewer wrote after surviving a 6.5 earthquake. And they're not alone. Across the world, stories pile up of dogs acting strangely restless, pacing, hiding right before disaster strikes. While science hasn't fully proven that dogs can predict earthquakes, there's a fascinating theory behind it. It's called infrasound low-frequency vibrations, below what humans can hear, often produced by shifting tectonic plates. Dogs, with their sensitive hearing and body awareness, may pick up these subtle signals long before we do. Think of it like this. The earth groans quietly before it screams. You won't hear it, but your dog might feel it. There's also barometric pressure shifts, electromagnetic changes, things that would mean nothing to you, but to your dog's signal danger. That's why they sometimes get anxious hours before a thunderstorm, or seem to know a tornado is on its way. To them, the world is never silent. It's always speaking in whispers. And sometimes those whispers aren't just from nature, they might come from somewhere far stranger. Because what if your dog's next warning isn't about an earthquake, but about something you can't even name? 6. Paranormal Sensitivity. She stared into the corner, just stood there stiff. Then the lights flickered. The air felt cold. I felt watched. That's how it often begins, not with a ghost, but with a dog acting strange. Now, let's be clear, there's no hard science proving dogs can see spirits. But for anyone who's ever lived with one, you know the feeling, the sudden growl in an empty room, the way they bark at a hallway when no one's home, or how they refuse to enter a certain spot, tail down, body tense. Skeptics say it's just smell or sound. Dogs might be picking up faint vibrations, a scent of someone who was once there, or a distant noise we can't detect. But even if that's true, it doesn't make it less real. Because to your dog, something is there, and they're reacting with instinct, not imagination. In cultures around the world, dogs have long been seen as guardians between the seen and unseen. Whether you believe in spirits or not, one thing's certain: your dog trusts their senses. And if they're afraid of something invisible, maybe you should be cautious too. But not every unexplained behavior is fear. Sometimes it's something much softer. Sometimes it's love. The kind that feels what you feel, even before you say a word. 7. Emotional radar. You don't have to say a word. Your dog already knows. That tightness in your chest, the tears you tried to hold back, they feel it. Before your body shows it. Before even you know what you're feeling. Dogs are emotional sponges. Studies show they pick up on subtle changes in your scent when stress hormones like cortisol rise. They sense shifts in your voice, your posture, the way you breathe. It's not just intuition, it's biology. And it's love written in chemicals. Have you ever noticed how your dog comes closer when you're sad? They rest their head on your lap. They look at you not to fix it, but to be with you. That's not coincidence. That's empathy in action. One study from the University of London found that dogs were significantly more likely to approach a crying person, even if they were a stranger, than someone humming or talking normally. They're drawn to pain, not because they enjoy it, but because they want to share the weight. If you've ever thought, "She knew I was hurting," you were right. And it goes deeper. Because when you're not just hurting emotionally, but physically, your dog might sense that too. Even in the dead of night, they know where you are. Not by sight, not by sound, but by heat. 8. Heat sensing. You're lying in bed, lights off, house silent, and your dog walks straight to you, curling up exactly where your feet are. No bumping around. No hesitation. It's not magic. It's their sense of heat. Dogs can detect subtle variations in body temperature using special nerve receptors in their nose. These receptors, known as TRP channels, allow them to pick up thermal radiation, much like a pit viper tracks prey in the dark. Your warmth becomes a beacon. This isn't just a survival skill left over from their hunting ancestors. It's also deeply emotional. Dogs are drawn to warmth not just for comfort, but for connection. If you've been sick or running a fever, and your dog suddenly won't leave your side, they might be sensing the change in your temperature long before you do. They don't just lie next to you because it's soft. They stay because you feel different. To them, heat means life, and being near your heat means you're still here. But sometimes what they sense isn't just a warm hand or foot. Sometimes it's a signal of something deeper, something dangerous growing quietly inside. And when they smell that kind of change, they don't just get close, they alert. Let's talk about dogs who detect illness sometimes before doctors can. 9. Cancer and illness detection. He kept sniffing the same spot on her chest, day after day, until she went to the doctor and found a tumor. Stories like this sound unbelievable, until science backs them up. Multiple studies, including one published in BMC Cancer, show that trained dogs can detect cancer in breath, urine, even sweat samples with accuracy up to 99% in certain cases. Breast cancer, lung cancer, prostate cancer, all hidden silent until a dog speaks. But here's what's more amazing. Many of these dogs weren't trained. They just knew. It's believed that cancer cells release volatile organic compounds, invisible chemical changes that dogs can pick up instantly. To you, nothing smells different. To them, something's wrong. And when they smell wrong, they don't look away. Some sit and stare. Others nudge. Some become anxious, clingy, or obsessed with one spot on your body. Whatever the behavior, the message is the same. Pay attention. And if you do, you might just catch something early enough to make a difference. But cancer isn't the only danger they sense. Sometimes the warning comes minutes, even seconds before disaster. A seizure, a stroke, a life-threatening drop in blood sugar. When those moments hit, your dog might be the first one to know. 10. Medical alert dogs. He pawed at her chest, hard wouldn't stop. She tried to push him away and collapsed minutes later from a stroke. We call them miracle dogs, but maybe it's just biology, meeting loyalty. Dogs have been shown to detect oncoming seizures, blood sugar crashes, and even strokes, not with equipment, but with their noses, their intuition, their bond with you. In one study published in Scientific Reports, dogs were able to detect hypoglycemia episodes by smelling the change in chemical compounds released during low blood sugar even before symptoms appeared. Other research shows that certain dogs can sense seizure activity by changes in scent, body movement, and even electric charges in the skin. But the most powerful stories, they come from dogs with no formal training. Just instinct, connection, devotion. If your dog suddenly gets agitated, blocks, your path paws at you, or whines for no clear reason, don't ignore it. Especially if you have a condition like diabetes, epilepsy, or heart disease. Sometimes their warning is the only one you get. They're not just reacting, they're intervening. But sensing internal danger isn't the only thing they do. Because some dogs seem to know when someone outside isn't safe. A person who smiles at you but makes your dog growl. And maybe your dog knows something you don't. 11. Detecting bad energy in people. He walked in, smiling, polite, friendly. But my dog growled deep and low and never took her eyes off him. I didn't listen. I should have. You've probably felt it too. Your dog meets someone new and something shifts. Their posture stiffens. They hide behind you, or worse, they stand guard. And it's not just people who act suspicious. Sometimes it's people who seem perfectly fine. So what are they picking up? Dogs are masters at reading body language, micro-expressions, tone of voice. But beyond that, they can detect pheromones, invisible chemical signals we release when we're angry, afraid, even lying. To you, that person smells like perfume. To your dog, something's off. This ability makes dogs powerful companions for trauma survivors, especially veterans with PTSD. Studies show that dogs often react protectively when their handlers' stress levels spike even before the person realizes they're triggered. And for elderly owners who live alone, this ability becomes more than instinct. It becomes safety. So when your dog backs away from someone or won't stop staring, don't brush it off. Sometimes the best judge of character doesn't speak a word. But it's not just people. Sometimes it's a place, a chair, a vase, an object that gives off something your dog doesn't trust, even if it looks perfectly harmless to you. 12. Energy in objects. It was just a vase. Porcelain, old with a dragon carved into the side. But from the day it entered the house, my dog refused to go near it. She'd growl low and steady every time she passed by. At first I laughed it off. Then the lights started flickering in that room, and I started listening. Dogs don't fear objects because they're superstitious, but they do respond to cues we don't even notice. Maybe it's a strange material, a sharp scent embedded in the ceramic, or the way a shape reflects light under UV. Maybe it's a memory, something traumatic that lingers in the air long after the humans are gone. Science has a name for it, residual scent. Just like dogs can detect the presence of a missing person days after they've left, they might also react to objects carrying emotional residue, fear, violence, or illness. To us, it's just furniture. To them, it's a message. And if your dog suddenly avoids a space they once loved, or barks at an empty chair, maybe it's not a glitch in their brain. Maybe it's a warning. But not all of their alerts come from fear. Sometimes they're reading something alive, like the tiniest movement you didn't even know you made. 13. Micro-movement radar. I hadn't even moved. At least I didn't think I had. But my dog whipped her head around, staring straight at me, ears up. That's when I realized I'd just thought about reaching for the treat bag. Dogs don't need words or gestures. Sometimes all it takes is a blink, a shift in your breath, the slightest change in how you hold your shoulders, and they're already reacting. Inside their brains is a region called the superior colliculus, which specializes in detecting motion. Tiny motion. Faster than our eyes can track. It's what made dogs such incredible hunters, and now it's how they track you. This is why consistency matters in training. Why one step forward or the lift of a hand can mean walk or sit without you even saying it. To your dog, your body is a language, and they're fluent. Ever wondered why your dog always knows when you're about to leave before you grab your keys? It's not magic. It's micro-movement. But there's one more way they read the world that leaves everything else behind. Not by sight, not by sound, but by scent, the kind that tells them who you are, what you feel, and even what might happen next. 14. Pheromones and invisible communication. To you, a hug might mean love. To your dog, love smells like oxytocin. Fear has a scent too sharp, acidic, hard to miss if you have 300 million scent receptors working all at once. Dogs live in a world of invisible signals. We call them pheromones, chemical messengers released by our bodies, without us ever knowing. They change when we're stressed, happy, grieving, pregnant, even sick. Your dog doesn't just notice the shift, they feel it. This is why your dog might act differently around someone with bad intentions, not based on how they look, but how they smell chemically. It's how they know when you're sad or when someone in the room is nervous. It's not guesswork, it's chemistry. And unlike humans, dogs don't need language to connect. They smell your story, your fear, your joy in real time. So the next time your dog leans into you when you're holding back tears or avoids someone you thought was harmless, remember their nose is a window into the truth. They don't just sense who you are, they remember it. Through scent, through presence, through something you may never understand. But they never forget. Because for them, knowing you isn't just about the now. It's everything. And now that you've seen what they see, let's take a moment to understand what this all means. You used to think your dog barked at nothing. Now maybe you see it was never nothing. It was magnetic fields beneath their feet. Sounds too high for you to hear. Lights you can't see. Illness you don't feel yet. People they don't trust. Places they don't enter. Emotions they mirror without a word. And the one thing that connects it all, their unwavering instinct to protect you. Dogs aren't just companions. They're translators of a world we forgot how to hear. So the next time your dog stops and stares at an empty hallway, or lays their head on your lap just as your heart breaks, maybe don't dismiss it. Maybe thank them. Because in the end, your dog isn't reacting to ghosts or noise or air. They're reacting to you, to the world around you, and to something far bigger than logic. As someone once said, some angels choose fur instead of wings. Now, I'd love to hear your story. Has your dog ever done something you couldn't explain, but now maybe you understand? Drop it in the comments. Let's build a space where these stories live on. And if you found this video comforting, eye-opening, or just gave you chills, stay with us. Hit subscribe. Because the next video we've prepared reveals 15 things your dog will never forgive. And missing it might mean missing something your dog has been trying to tell you all along.